Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Money Podcast, your source for all things money. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Daniel Umstead on the line, and he's owner over at the Robert Nathaniel Group and also host of the RNG Radio Show. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today, Adam. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing fantastic, and I'm happy to have you on the show and get into today's topic. So we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about the benefits of credit repair, and, of course, I want to get into that radio show that you have, so RNG Radio Show. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit more about what you're doing over at the Robert Nathaniel Group. Tell us a little bit more about your company, please.
Sure. So with the Robert Nathaniel Group, I had actually started it as a resume writing company. I still do resume writing to this day, but the benefit is that I've taken out the cost just due to everything going on and actually provided it to be free for everybody. In addition to that, under the Robert Nathaniel Group, I am also a realtor through EXP. So if anybody is looking to buy, sell, rent, or get into some real estate, I am the go-to person. In addition, I also assist with credit repair alongside a financial services company. And last but not least, some motivation to get people through the day.
That's awesome. And I think that's a great transition. So I do want to go further down the credit side of things. So let's just jump right in. So the benefits of credit and, you know, some of the things that people think that work one way, but they work another. I mean, let's just dive right in. So where do you want to start with this topic? It's a big subject.
Sure. So I get a lot of people who are inquiring about getting a house thinking that they only need a certain credit score number. That is honestly quite not the case. There are programs out there where people can get into housing at either a 580 or 590, and they might not need that 620, 640 score. Everybody is going to be different, but the main thing is that folks that are in that 3-4, low 500 range need to start working on it now. And the other thing is a lot of people think that, I got to wait till years before I can get my credit built back up to where it needs to be at. And 9 times out of 10, on average, it takes about 5 to 6 months.
That's awesome. So what do you find are some of the and I know this is going to vary from person to person, but, you know, I always like to think about the low-hanging fruit. So there's a lot of people listening right now that are like, is there anything, like, what should I be thinking about when it comes to my credit, like tips to make it better? I mean, what is that low-hanging fruit that a lot of people can start doing, like, right now?
Oh, sure. So let me start off with this, with the credit cards. A lot of people look at the credit cards and think that, as long as I'm paying the minimum balance or maybe adding another $10 to $15 on a monthly basis, I'm doing okay. The credit bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they all look at your payment history and activity. So if you're just making the minimum payments, they're pretty much in turn saying like, well, if they're just making the minimum payments, then they're really not qualified to get up to where they need to be at. So starting off, working on getting your credit balances low. Now, I'm not saying all the way down to zero, but at least to the point where it's 30% under. So if somebody has a $1,000 credit card balance, they should be looking at getting that credit balance down to $300 or under.
And what are the, let's go a little bit further down that line in terms of what, like, when somebody's looking at their credit or credit score or credit sheet. I mean, kind of give us some background on that, because I feel like some people don't pay attention to the credit lines. Like, they don't know exactly how all that stuff works. They maybe just signed up for a card. They're not paying attention. You know, give us a little bit more there.
Sure. So with the credit card companies, what they're looking for is pretty much your usage of the credit history. So that's why I say don't bring it all the way down to zero. You still want to have some usage in there, because eventually you're using your credit score and from the credit report to purchase things in life, such as getting new credit cards, such as purchasing a car, such as purchasing a home. So every single line item that somebody has on their credit report needs to be analyzed and looked at with a fine-tooth comb, because a lot of people think that, Experian told me that I'm at this credit score. Meanwhile, TransUnion on the back end actually has a line item that they might not be aware of. So, and these things can be disputed because it is covered under the Fair Credit Reporting Agency. Now, I'm not saying that every single thing on somebody's credit report can be totally dismissed, but if it's outside such as the statute of limitations, people can take advantage of that by simply disputing, and this honestly just by writing a letter to the 3 credit bureaus to get that done.
That's awesome. So let's get into your show a bit. I want to talk about that. So the RNG Radio Show. Tell us some more.
Sure. So definitely a great segue. The same tips that I'm providing to you today, I typically do on my show as well, just a little bit more flavor added to it. So initially I start off with the credit
repair. Hold on, so wait a minute, Dan. You didn't bring the flavor to my show? What's up with that? What are you talking about?
Well,
that hurt. No, that hurt.
Well, I try to do impressions.
My show's better. I didn't really bring like my content here because I'm saving that for my show this week, but it's cool. Go ahead.
Well, I can add on the British accent for you, Mike, because there's certain parts of my show that I do a British accent. So there you go, Adam. There you go.
All right, I feel better now.
So, but yes, with the RNG Radio Show, a little bit as you just heard, but honestly, I'm giving both sides to the equation. I want people to definitely sign up to get the credit repair services that they need, but if for whatever reason they cannot do it financially, it's a time factor, hey, I'm going to be adding on free advice as well. And that goes along with the real estate when I discuss certain tips for home owners, for realtors themselves, and even for people looking to sell their homes, because a lot of people, once COVID hit, was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to sell my house, or I don't even know if I should be buying a new house. And actually, the market is doing pretty good, even though you might see on the news, hey, sales have dropped, or this has dropped, or people are not getting in. It's honestly where you go to. Definitely rentals are on the rise because a lot of people don't realize that it's like, hey, somebody might just be comfortable and you could still make money off of that. And this is just a tip for the realtors, but also just taking the advantage and opportunity of what's currently out there. I also talk about resume writing tips as far as ways in finding a job. And then lastly, I typically leave folks with some motivation to keep them moving forward.
Man, that's awesome. So, Daniel, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information on the Robert Nathaniel Group and also on the RNG Radio Show, what's the best way for them to follow up and to connect? Sure.
So there's 2 ways. The first is definitely an open door policy. They can contact me directly. They can call or text 267-702-3756. Or if they like to check out the show themselves, they can go to YouTube and search the Robert Nathaniel Group, and you'll be able to see the past episodes.
Man, that's awesome. Well, I tell you, Daniel, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and you are the first British accent impersonation that I've heard on the show. So out of 2,000-some episodes, I've interviewed quite a few people from the UK, but this is the first. So this was a memorable show for me, Daniel. I'm glad you brought me the fire. That's awesome. So thank you for that. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Money, don't forget to give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Daniel, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Adam. I appreciate you.